Let's turn to the UK, because interestingly, I saw this advertisement. The Downing Street, I was going to call it the White House, but it almost is with this announcement. Downing Street's looking for a spokesperson to front sort of daily White House-style media briefings. Now, I'll go back to you on this, Cory, because you've worked in and around government for a long time. We don't do this in the Westminster system. If you want to hear from the leader, you hear from the leader. You don't have a staffer come out there and front the cameras like they do in the US. I thought it's a pretty unusual move, and I thought, you know, is it because the tempo's changing? Are they worried somehow that there's a presentational issue with the PM? You know, is Boris Johnson not cutting through? Is the new Labor opposition leader Keir Starmer, you know, causing him some grief? What's your assessment?
I suspect you're a little bit right everywhere there, Peter. Boris Johnson is not the greatest presenter, and so if you've got to deliver some unpalatable news, you might as well put someone out there who you can blame for making a mistake, perhaps, and particularly where you've got a competitive opposition leader. But let's not pretend there aren't unofficial briefings by staffers or anyone else. This is unparalleled in the Westminster system. But I remember in the party room for the Liberal Party, there would be a politician tasked to brief the media afterwards, and on a couple of occasions they gave a self-serving account, if I can put it like that, of what actually went on in the party room rather than an honest one. So,
I know exactly,
you know, briefing the media is not an unknown thing.
Yes, I know exactly right. Exactly who you're talking about there. James, and look, beside all of that, there's a lot of issues on his plate. There's a concern already, and they're just coming out of summer, that COVID will hit them hard again in winter in Britain. There's Brexit, of course, and Keir Starmer, as I said, is stronger. Boris got to lift his game. What's the sort of play in the UK?
Yeah, look, I think Boris really does need to lift his game. I was always a bit of a reluctant supporter of Boris because I always thought he was very weak on sort of environmental and greeny issues. But, you know, the last few months we've seen him let London be trashed and London police be abused by all sorts of BLM protesters, Churchill's statues being attacked. The COVID crisis, he hasn't managed all that well, all things considered. And now he's talking about weird things like, oh, well, we needed an anti-obesity campaign. That will help us get through COVID. And it's just not cutting through. And the problem is, I think for him and for, you know, a lot of Tories, frankly, they had Jeremy Corbyn for so long as their opponent that he was so unpalatable that their political muscles kind of atrophied. And now that they've got a bit more of a reasonable candidate in Keir Starmer to go up against, they're finding it harder, I think, politically to land a punch and find that cut-through, Peter.
Just a quick comment from you, Cory. I've got to go, but I tell you, timing's everything in politics and life. Harry and Meghan depart thinking they'll create this big splash when they get to North America. Of course, then COVID comes. They've, you know, I'm going to say they've written a book, but they've certainly participated, they say, in this book, although they're saying they're not. It's Diana all over again, and this is going to end in tears, isn't it?
It's a terrible development. It just shows that Hollywood is full of narcissists, hypocrites, vanity publishing, and people who will destroy other people's lives.
Yeah, I fear for the poor old Queen. She doesn't deserve this at all, least of all from her grandson. James Morrow, Cory Bernardi, thanks for your time.